G'day all, Shell Strike here. Welcome back to the channel. Well, Houston, we have a problem. Well, Space Marine 2, we have a problem, I mean. Okay, so after 22 hours of playing Space Marine 2, I'm going to have to give my honest opinion of how the game's going so far for me. I'll go through the positive and the not so positives. Well, okay, yep, the negatives. You know that feeling when you start out playing a new game after it's been hyped all over the internet and online as the next greatest game on earth? You get all giddy and excited when you start playing it for the first time. And I don't want to make a direct comparison. Okay, I will. Helldivers 2 gave that feeling for me when I started playing it for the first time. I was all excited and I couldn't wait to start to play and find out everything about it and share it with my subscribers, and that feeling went on for a long time, many months, as you all know. Which is why I have over 180 videos of it on the channel. That's almost an obsession. Almost. Well, Space Marine 2 on the other hand did give me that feeling playing throughout the campaign. Then somehow I started to lose that feeling a bit. You know, not completely, but yeah, it started quite early. Don't get me wrong, it's still a great game, but is it truly an amazing game? Well, at this stage of its life, I don't quite think so. Let me elaborate on my reasons for this and what is its pros and cons. Firstly, yes, the campaign was a fantastic story, but not an amazing story. The characters, however, and the gameplay and cinematics were amazing, and I would say you felt like you were in the Warhammer 40K universe. So for 8 hours or so, I had that, oh wow, this is a really great game. Then towards the end of the campaign, I noticed some cracks starting to appear. The last few missions felt a little bit rushed, and I noticed more and more cutscenes. I actually thought I would play a particular part of the mission, but then it would just end up being a cutscene. So like when me and my battle brothers flew across the mission map on the jetpacks, but it was all just a cutscene. I thought, oh gee, I wish I could have played that. But anyway. The fight with the final boss as well, I couldn't see the point of the fighting scenes in the blacked out area. It's more of a placeholder, I thought, than anything else, and yeah, it was a bit lackluster. Still, even after the campaign finished, I was excited to play operations and started in the armoring hall, fumbling about the player classes, looking at how to customise my armour, spending requisition points needlessly, and trying to figure out how I upgrade the weapons and classes. Yeah, I must say the interface in the Armory Hall is not very intuitive. I wasn't even given a tip on how to quick travel from the data area to the Armory Hall and the mission terminal. Unless I missed that on the on-screen tip for that, I'm not sure, for the quick travel, but maybe I did. I'm not sure. We'll see whether they make improvements to the Armory Hall and interface and a lot of the other things. I'm getting a bit used to it now, so I guess it was just, you know, more of a bit of a learning curve than I'm used to. Now let's talk about loading screens. Yes, loading screens. Why did I just say that twice? Well, it took longer than it needed to, which is what the loading screens do. Especially the cutscenes after you load into the operations mission. There is a skip option, but you can only skip the first cutscene for some reason, and it still plays the rest of it. So yeah, that's a bit annoying. I think the loading screen issues, as in how long it takes from what I've seen, are worse on the PC version. I think this would probably vary because it would depend on what hard drives that particular player has installed on their PC. So probably the faster SSD on their PC, the faster the loading times. I don't know, I'm not quite sure, but I know the PS5 has a fairly fast SSD on board, so it's just tolerable. Just. When I first started playing operations, there were a few issues and bugs, but yeah, it did settle down quite quickly and got into my first operation, which you can see on the channel. They definitely need to do something about them. Maybe they can streamline it a bit by removing or giving the option to skip all the cutscenes, or not having to line up on the battle bars to wait for other players. I don't know. They have to do something anyway. Also, let me talk about having to choose classes when starting an operation. I have to ask why they implement it that way. It's a little bit confusing sometimes, and sometimes I don't have enough time to choose a class, and sometimes it just defaults to whatever class you've got selected in the Armory Hall. So yeah, definitely some improvements needed there in class selection when starting operations. There are also some concerns for me about the game's longevity with only 6 operations. Yes, I understand there will be more added from the roadmap, but it's going to take quite a while. Also, I realise that the AI director changes things up quite a bit in the missions, and of course we've got different difficulties, so I guess there's at least some things to help in this area. Maybe there's not enough variety to keep me interested for many months or years to come. Yeah, I feel that might be the case, but we'll see what happens. You can just take, say, 40K Inquisitor Martyr, for example, as a game with replayability. I played that one on and off for years and still occasionally up until this day. So now, what about co-op in operations? Well, in my latest few operations, I've got players just rushing through the mission. I was struggling to keep up, and the game chose a heavy for me. That didn't help because it's quite slow. But I just wanted to take my time and collect some gene seeds and armory data. But as they rushed through it, the other players, we didn't get either of them at the end of the mission. So yeah, that was a bit disappointing. It was an issue for me in the last few missions, people rushing around, rushing through the missions, and also being left behind isn't very good, as you can get ganked by the enemy, so with no battle brothers around to help. I don't think this is good for the AI director, remembering your playstyle and possibly making missions harder for you over time. If it sees a particular pattern of gameplay, yeah, it could be an issue for future missions for you. So if they can make it so we can play operations more easily with just battle brother bots, that would be good, sort of a solo mode without having to go into offline mode and jank it. Because if you do that, it means you don't get any of the progressions for operations, which defeats the whole purpose of playing them, I guess. Now, I have mentioned there are a lot of issues in Space Marine 2, but I'm still hopeful that with the first patch in October, they fix some of the issues I've mentioned, and I'm still looking forward to the content they will be introducing in the roadmap over time, so that I can at least say that I haven't wasted my $150 that I spent on the game. Some of the other things I think that can be improved in the game are, say, introducing rewards for killing bosses. Maybe you can get some armory data from them or requisition points. Definitely need to improve those load screens by streamlining them. Expand the perk system and maybe have multiple perks per branch. Maybe also be able to have the same class in operations. Maybe say limit it to 2 of the same class in a mission. I don't think that would be impossible. At this stage of the game, I think it's more of a story campaign multiplayer game than a live service. So yeah, they'll have to streamline and add a lot of content other than what's on the roadmap, in my opinion, as well as introduce those quality of life improvements that are definitely needed. Make the game less grindy, so players don't rush through levels, which reduces the overall experience for other players who want to take their time, like myself. Overall, I do think it is still a good game. I just think they need more options for the single player side of things. So that's it. That's my take on how the game is going so far for me in Space Marine 2. As I've mentioned in previous videos on the channel, I'm a casual fan of 40k games, playing Kill Team, Inquisitor Martyr, Deathwing and Gothic Armada, just to name a few. Comment below on how you think the game is so far for you, if you've been playing it. Also, if you enjoyed this content, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button for more content like this. And as always, Battle Brothers, stay safe, and we'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye for now.